It will please come to order. We will resume consideration of H 430. The senator from Windsor, the vice chair of the Committee on Appropriations, Senator Nitka, is recognized for the committee's report.
Madam President, the Appropriations Committee met and recommends that the bill be amended with the following amendment. The Agency of Human Services, Outreach and Provider Grants, Implementation Appropriations are recommended by striking out we're adding in the sum of $14 million in one-time funds to be appropriated to the Agency of Human Services in fiscal year 2022 to be used for the following purposes. And it will appear, let's see, in the, okay. To the extent that applicable funds, to the extent that applicable funds are appropriated in fiscal year 22 budget, the Agency of Human Services shall use them for the following purposes as outlined. And the committee vote was 7-0-0.
Thank you, Senator. And for those listening, and also for senators, at page 1545 at the bottom is the amendment proposal.
Madam President, I think there may be an error that I'm looking at here. I just need to reread this.
Okay. Please take your time. Just read the bottom for the following purposes.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess.
Okay. I'm going to call the question, and then if there is an error we need to discuss that, we'll do that. The question is, shall the report of the Committee on Health and Welfare be amended as recommended by the Committee on Appropriations? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Rutland is recognized. Senator Hooker.
Madam President, I believe that the amount was 1.4 million, not 14 million.
Yes. That is correct.
Yes, thank you. And has everyone seen the amendment? I just want to confirm it's on the bottom of pages 1545. Right. Okay. So the question is, shall the report of the Committee on Health and Welfare,
President,
Senator from Wyndham is recognized.
I see that the senator from Windsor has her hand up.
I wonder, Madam President, if we might consult with the chair of the committee, Senator Kitchell, who is now on the screen.
Hello, Senator. Yes, Senator Kitchell is recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I apologize for leaving. I believe what you're referring to the amendment that the Senate Appropriations Committee made to bill number 430. And what we did was to strike out the appropriation of 1.4 million in one-time funds. Because that funding is going to be incorporated into the budget, and so we do our standard reference to the extent that applicable funds are appropriated in the 22 budget. The Agency of Human Services shall use it for the following purposes. So that is our way of taking and moving the money into the budget, because that's where the revenues necessary to support this bill reside. So it's the 1.4 million in one-time funds that are being removed from the bill and are included in the budget as we have presented it to this body. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, with appreciation to the senator from Windsor for her support. The question is, shall the report of the Committee on Health and Welfare be amended as recommended by the Committee on Appropriations? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've amended the report as recommended by the Committee on Appropriations. The question now is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Health and Welfare as amended? The senator from Chittenden, Senator Lyons, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to underscore the real significance of this bill. You know, my history years ago as a graduate student and afterwards, I worked with migrant workers on black dirt farms. And one of the things that we had established was a school for kids. And we worked with kids from Mexico, Puerto Rico, Georgia, Oklahoma, across the country of different racial and ethnic groups. And as part of that work, I started to go out and visit where migrant workers lived and discovered that there were a lot of sick people living in very squalid conditions, and it was extremely concerning. As a result of that, I brought a group of folks together where we would take children and their families to the hospital, to the ER, and then finally, after a year of doing that, we moved on to bringing a clinic to the migrant care facility. It was a volunteer operation, but it was extremely rewarding. To see that clinic today and to see the migrant care facility today is huge, and it continues on with a school, with a full clinic, with people working together. This little bill that we have before us really helps those same people. It helps pregnant women and children to get the care that they need. It is very much a part of our Vermont culture to see that happen. So it is an important bill, Madam President, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Health and Welfare as amended? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've proposed to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Health and Welfare as amended. The question now is, shall the bill be read the third time? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 430. We have on the calendar for action H 434, introduced on March 23rd. It was referred to the Committee on Agriculture, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as appears on pages 1546 to 1553 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. The bill was then referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which reports that the bill should be amended as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 434.
H 434, an act relating to establishing the Agricultural Innovation Board.
The senator from Rutland, Senator Collmore, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam President. Senators can find the bill on page 1546 of today's calendar. This is an act relating to establishing the Agricultural Innovation Board and is a strike-all to what came over from the other body. Just to give you a little bit of an overview, it transforms the Vermont Pesticide Advisory Council, better known as VPAC, which is located at the Agency of Agriculture, into the Agricultural Innovation Board. VPAC, you may or may not remember, was established to provide guidance and expertise on the use of pest controls in the state, and the membership therein was also focused on pesticide use in the state, but does not have the authority or the expert membership to focus on questions about innovative or alternative agriculture practices that don't involve pesticide or pest control. And as more and more issues of innovative agriculture recently have arisen, including regenerative agriculture, microcropping, hemp cultivation, and water quality and climate change measures, the agency needs a forum to address innovative agriculture by persons who are actually engaged in farming. So H434 converts VPAC into the Agricultural Innovation Board to provide a forum and experts to address the many new and exciting issues arising in agriculture today. And it also will retain VPAC's authority and duties over pest control, and will also assume all the duties of the Seed Review Committee. Section 1 of the bill amends the subchapter in Title 6 related to regenerative farming and renames the chapter as the Regenerative Farming and Innovative Agriculture subchapter. In Section 4964, it creates this Agricultural Innovation Board and lists the following duties. The board will review historic recommendations for pesticide reduction and coordinate work by existing work groups to avoid conflicting policy recommendation to the legislature regarding regulation of pesticides and farming. It will recommend practices that reduce the use of and exposure to pesticides and synthetic fertilizers in order to protect soil biology, human health, and the environmental health, including recommended targets to achieve the state goal of overall pesticide reduction. It will advise the executive branch and the General Assembly with respect to legislation concerning the use of agricultural pest control measures and integrated pest management. It will recommend to the Secretary of Agriculture policies, proposed rules, or legislation for regulation of treated articles. It will recommend practices to reduce the use and generation of waste associated with plastic in farming. Advise the agency with regard to the regulation of plant biostimulants. Explore methods or standards for transitioning farmers to practices that reduce pesticide usage. Explore methods or standards for farmers engaging in carbon sequestration or mitigation. And review the seed traits of newly genetically engineered seed proposed for sale in the state. Section 4964 sub B has to do with the composition of the board. There'll be 13 members. They all have expertise on agricultural issues and will include the Secretary of Agriculture, Food and Markets, or designee, an active farmer that is a member of an organization representing the organic farming community, a member from the University of Vermont Center for Sustainable Agriculture, the director of the Agency of Ag, Food and Markets Agrochemical Program, or designee, the director of the Agency of Ag, Food and Markets Water Quality Program, or designee, the Commissioner of Health, or a designee with expertise in the effects of pesticides on human health, the Secretary of Natural Resources, or designee, a soil biologist, a certified crop consultant, an active farmer who's a member of an organization representing the conventional dairy industry, an active farmer who's a member of an organization representing fruit or vegetable production, an active farmer who's a member of an organization representing grass-based non-dairy livestock farming, and a member of an environmental organization that advocates for policy regarding the management or reduction of toxic substances in the state. The Secretary of Ag will convene the board, appoint non-ex officio members, and designate a chair. The board members will be appointed for 3 years, except initial appointments will be staggered. Board members other than ex officio members will receive per diems and expenses. Those payments will be made from the Pesticide Monitoring Revolving Fund. The board shall meet no fewer than 4 times a year. In subsection 4964C, the duties of the board will also be to issue an annual report to the General Assembly recommending policy solutions to assist farmers in reducing the use of and exposure to pesticides and the use of innovative or alternative practices. It will propose an annual budget that provides ideas for funding sources for any recommended programs and survey farmers from every county in the state about agricultural inputs such as pesticides, fertilizers, or plastics care currently used and the challenges farmers face in reducing their use. Section 2 repeals the Vermont Pesticide Advisory Council effective January 1st, 2022. Sections 3, 4, 5, and 6 make conforming amendments to VPAC's authority. Section 7 repeals the Seed Review Committee, which was established and authorized to review and approve the use of genetically engineered seed, because this new agricultural board will now fulfill this authority. Section 8 is a transition provision allowing the Secretary of Ag to appoint those members on or before January 1st, 2022. And Section 9, the effective date will take effect January 1st, 2022, except again that the authority of the Secretary of Ag to appoint members of the Agricultural Innovation Board will take effect July 1st of 2021. The committee heard from a number of witnesses, including representatives from the Lake Champlain Committee, lots of folks from the Agency of Agriculture, NOFA Vermont, Agrimart, the Secretary of the Agency of Natural Resources, the reporter of the bill in the other body, Nat Shambaugh, retired chemist, Amanda St. Pierre, Executive Director of the Vermont Dairy Producers Alliance, and our own Michael O'Grady, our alleged counsel. The committee vote, Madam President, was 5-0-0, and we ask the Senate to concur. Thank you.
Senator, thank you. The senator from Essex Orleans, Senator Starr, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Appropriations, and I'll kindly ask you to unmute, which you did. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. It's a pleasure to report from on monetarily has no impact on the on the state budget. It's shifting from the Pesticide Advisory Board or Council to the Vermont Innovation Board, which is a new crew. There's only 8 members that will receive per diems and expenses, very minimal amount of money, and the money, as reported by the reporter of the bill, will come from the Vermont Pesticide Council money, which is raised from fees that the registrants pay into the state. The Committee on Appropriations voted 7-0-0 and would recommend the passage of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture? The senator from Addison is recognized. Kindly unmute, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. May I inquire of the reporter of the amendment?
You may.
I just have, if you could offer the Senate sort of a compare and contrast the Pesticide Advisory Council with this new board. Could you tell us a little bit about, what you're addressing by making this change?
Just to clarify, Senator Bray, are you wishing to inquire of Senator Collmore from the Committee on Agriculture or Committee on Appropriations? I presume it's the prior, but just to clarify.
Thank you, Madam President. It'd be the reporter of the member of the committee. Let me see, the senator from Rutland, who was the reporter of the underlying event.
But the question right now is on the money, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yes, just to clarify, the question right now is on the amendment around the money. So maybe the question that you're posing shall be most germane for the next question.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that assistance. I'll wait till we get to the right question.
Thank you. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture?
I thought we were doing the. And so therefore he is appropriate.
Senator Bray, with apologies, your question is very appropriate at this moment. I have been corrected. So therefore, you may inquire of Senator Collmore, but I may ask you to repeat your question for everyone listening and for everyone here at the moment. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. The question is, we have an existing pesticide advisory council. The committee's proposing a new innovation board to replace it. And I'm just wondering, usually we make changes because we're looking to enhance the performance of a system or something like that. So I'm just wondering if you could explain a little bit about what we currently have and the committee's motivation for making this change.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the question. I can. The current Vermont Pesticide Advisory Council, we have heard, was not meeting on a regular basis. And again, as I thought in the overview, the council is pretty much limited to just providing expert guidance on pest controls and pesticide. This Agricultural Innovation Board will have a look at all of the same situations that come up with that, but it's a much wider board because there are new agricultural innovations that are coming along. So all of the current VPAC duties will be absorbed by the new innovation board, but in addition, they'll also be looking at other things that at the moment the Pesticide Advisory Council does not look at.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, it's one of the goals you were naming, and I think it's current policy as well as would carry forward, is the reduction of pesticide use. Did the committee take any testimony on the amount of pesticide use in the last 1, 3, 5 years, for instance? Are we seeing decreases and you're hoping to accelerate that? Or I don't know if we're level increasing, what the status is. Can you comment on that, please?
We did hear from Carrie Jaguar, who is the policy director at the Agency of Agriculture, and indeed, Vermont is on a very good course for reduction of pesticide use, but we feel that we can accelerate that with this new board.
Okay. I thank the senator. And I thank the committee for addressing the issue and moving to decrease the use. I mean, in law, they're referred to as economic poisons, and I think the operative word is poisons. And the fact that we all are very aware that phosphorus flows off of farms and is causing some water quality issues. There are other things leave as well. It's hard to imagine only phosphorus leaves. And to that extent, I think when we're using poisons on farms, we create larger exposures for people throughout the state. And so I'm appreciative that you're moving in the direction of trying to make further reductions in that use because of the public health benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, so the Senate proposed to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've proposed to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Agriculture. The question now is, shall the bill be read for the third time? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 434. We have a number of bills we'll now take up for third reading. If senators wish to remain unmuted, you are welcome to do so. We have on the calendar for third reading S 100, which was ordered on April 29th. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of S 100.
S 100, an act relating to universal school breakfast and lunch for all public school students and to creating incentives for schools to purchase locally produced foods.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question?
Roll call.
The senator from Chittenden has requested a roll call vote. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute, and then I will ask the secretary to call the roll on S 100. The secretary is kindly asked to call the roll.
Senator Ballant.
Yes.
Senator Baruch,
Yes.
Senator Benning,
Yes.
Senator Bray,
Yes.
Senator Brock,
Yes.
Senator Campion,
Yes.
Senator Chittenden, Senator Clarkson,
Yes.
Senator Collimore,
Yes.
Senator Cummings,
Yes.
Senator Hardy,
Yes.
Senator Hooker,
Yes.
Senator Ingalls,
No.
Senator Kitchell,
Yes.
Senator Lyons,
Yes.
Senator McDonald,
Yes.
Senator Mazza,
Yes.
Senator McCormick,
Yes.
Senator Nitka,
Yes.
Senator Parent,
Yes.
Senator Pearson,
Yes.
Senator Perschlick,
Yes.
Senator Polina,
Yes.
Senator Rahm,
Yes.
Senator Sears,
Yes.
Senator Sirotkin,
Yes.
Senator Starr,
Yes.
Senator Terenzini,
Yes.
Senator Westman,
Yes.
Senator White.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't get Chittenden. Senator Chittenden,
Aye.
Please listen to the results of your vote. The yeas 29, the nays 1, and you've passed S 100. We have on the calendar for third reading H210. Third reading was ordered on April 29th. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H210.
H210. An act relating to addressing disparities and promoting equity in the healthcare system.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and you've passed H210 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for third reading, H438. Third reading was ordered on April 29th. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H438.
H438. An act relating to capital construction and state bonding.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Please unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed the bill in concurrence. We have on the calendar for third reading H439. Third reading was ordered on April 29th. Are there any amendments before third reading? I believe the senator from Chittenden, Senator Pearson, is recognized.
He's not offering this, it's Senator Kitchell.
The senator from Caledonia, stand corrected. The senator from Caledonia, Senator Kitchell, is recognized.
Thank you, thank you, Madam President. I'm offering these amendments on behalf of the committee, and I realize they are lengthy. There are many of them. Many of them are technical or interrelated. So I will run through them as quickly as I can because it has been a long session. The first instance of amendment and the second is to deal with a change that we're making relative to the state paid deputies. We had originally moved money into the judiciary, but we are going to be amending the section that makes that change regarding the sheriffs and moving that responsibility to the judiciary system. So those two instances of amendment are reflecting the change not to move forward with that process at this point. And we have amendment, the 11th instance of amendment will be the replacement language in terms of how we wish to proceed. The third instance of amendment, we had rounded off the amount to 13,800,000, and we're entering a more precise number of 13,835,778. That is the amount of money for the OPEB payment for normal teachers' medical benefits. And the fourth instance of amendment is to strike out a section and replace it. And that is the 175,000 that we had in the bill for the Office of Legislative Operations to do the necessary work for the task force on affordable, accessible healthcare. What we're doing is establishing the task force in the budget itself. So this is making reference to the establishment of the of this task force in Section E 126.2. The fifth instance of amendment has to do with our reserve of $150 million for pensions, and we are simply striking out one word, structural, and we're just making it clear it's general, the reform. So rather than modifier of reforms, we're just keeping the reforms that would be proposed by the pension work group. The sixth instance of amendment is technical, and it's simply we misspelled and left out a word on ESSER. The seventh instance of amendment corrects something that we had not done, and that was a $400,000 adjustment on the Secretary of State's reversion. And so we have made that correction. On the eighth instance of amendment, this is the task force that was funded already in the budget, but it's also being created here in the budget. And this is be a legislative task force with 6 members, 3 from the House, 3 from the Senate, that would go out and have an opportunity to get input from Vermonters and to address a range of healthcare issues, including the cost, affordable drugs, other opportunities that people might have, how we could leverage additional federal money. So that there's quite a bit of language there relative to the duties and the scope of the work of the task force that would be charged to undertake this effort over the summer and the fall. And there will be public hearings as well. So this is to have the report for the General Assembly for January 15th of 2022. On the 9th instance of amendment, we have had an IT consultant at our joint fiscal office. That individual is retiring. That has been under a contract. We're recognizing the need to continue having that capability within our joint fiscal office. And this is either transferring a vacant position or the option to do it under a contractual arrangement, as has been the case for a number of years. That's 9th. The 10th instance of amendment is going to be, it's related, it's to eliminate the underlying amendment we did to the state paid deputies because that is being amended. And we're not moving forward with making that change at this time. So we need to keep the current statutory language intact. The 11th instance of amendment is the replacement that we have worked out this morning. We had testimony from the chair of government operations, and what we're doing is charging our joint legislative oversight committee with our current system of transports, which include not only prisoners but individuals who might be under the custody of the Commissioner of Mental Health or within DCF. And so this is rather than moving immediately to a change, this is really charging that oversight committee to examine the advantages, the disadvantages of different options, look at the studies that have been done in the past, consult with the courts, with the sheriffs, with the side judges, and come back with recommendations for legislative change. So that is a fairly significant replacement. I know that you may have heard from your local sheriffs, and so this is not moving forward with a particular set, with an action to change the current system, but to have the opportunity to hear all the advantages, disadvantages, should the arrangement be changed, where the responsibility for the funding and for oversight, where that should reside. The 12th instance of amendment, it looks long, but all we did was leave out the executive director of the state's attorneys and sheriffs on that committee to look at surcharges and fees as they are used as a revenue source to support services and programs. So we had to have reference to what went before, and that's 8 and 9 were already there. 10 is what we're adding, and that was simply an omission. The 13th instance of amendment was to take out the reference to legislative council. And then we're moving on to the 14th instance of amendment. And once again, it seems long, but on page 9 and number 6, we're adding for the benchmark plan review to include looking at having 2 primary care visits per year with no cost sharing requirement. That's just another area that we're asking DFR to examine as they're looking at this benchmark plan. The 15th instance of amendment was one that was requested from our Health and Welfare Committee, and that is to ask the Department of Financial Regulation to look at the 340B drug pricing program. That is something a number of states are doing, and we want to make sure that we're getting the full advantage of that prescription drug pricing program that is available and helps reduce the cost of prescriptions. In the 16th instance of amendment, it was a recommendation that we had made to us was to have the study committee not only look at the funding for the E911 system, but to look at the structure or governance of that program. So we're adding a phrase that the study would include and recommendations regarding the structure or governance of the E911 program. The 17th instance of amendment is in response to a question that was raised yesterday, and that is to have the Department of Children and Families to report back to the relevant committees regarding the outcome of their proposal to move to a statewide transportation system. There was concern about the language. We wanted to make sure that there was no diminution of services, and this is a way of addressing that concern by having very frequent reporting back. So we are adding that to address that concern. The 18th instance of amendment was just a correction to have the Justice Reinvestment Report come back to the Senate Judiciary. It was erroneously referencing institutions. The 19th instance of amendment is just breaking up the 2 parts of the OPEB for teachers' retirement. The A is the PAYGO, which is paying out of the general fund for the actual cost today, and then creating the B, which is to start pre-funding the cost of those benefits for when teachers who are employed now retire. The 20th instance of amendment relates to the $10 million ARPA appropriation that we are making available to support the Vermont independent colleges, which are pretty significant part of our economic sector. We are just simply changing the way in which the decisions around the distribution would be done and mirroring the process that we used for the earlier appropriation that went to the independent colleges. The 21st instance of amendment was once again something that got left out by just by error, and that is out of the money, the appropriation to the Agency of Commerce and Community Development for brownfields. $1 million of that would be subgranted to the regional planning commissions to help with that work. That is a standard practice and a standard role that the RPCs have played. In the other prior section, there was the cap had been had the notwithstanding language to not have the cap apply for these grants. And then the 22nd instance of amendment is to reflect recommended language that we received from the Vermont Conservation Board to make it clear that these funds, this allocation is for populations who may be displaced from the hotel and motel voucher program currently without housing. And then that they would do this in consultation with the Agency of Human Services. The 23rd instance of amendment is just it's breaking up a combined appropriation, 1.5 to ACCD, but the 650 that we had added, we wanted to break it out, and it was going to the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, but it was all to go to the RPCs, and we have heard from our Economic Development Committee that they would like flexibility for the for that agency to do grants to other than the RPCs. There may be times when that would be more preferable. So this just allows that flexibility rather than dictating the full amount to the planning commissions. We did keep B is the same as that came over from the other body, and that's remained unchanged. The 24th instance of amendment is just clarifying language that the $500,000 to the Natural Resources Board would be for the digitization of land use records. And the 25th is amendment that has been recommended and we accepted from our Natural Resources Committee. There was a question about reporting back in terms of the $9 million ARPA appropriation that was going to the Vermont Housing Finance Agency. And this language makes it clear that they will issue a report and they will look as part of that report the results of investigations into an on-bill to the meter billing and other methods that provide financing for weatherization. The 26th instance of amendment is in response to, is changing a position. We had the position created in the State Office of Economic Opportunity, which is within the Department of Children and Families. That is not a position and workload that they feel they can take on at this time. So it moves the funding for the position to coordinate that statewide effort to one of the community action agencies that would provide that coordination work on behalf of the CAPs throughout the state. And then the 27th and final instance of amendment is simply changing all the different effective dates that are necessary and included in the bill. So that completes my presentation of the amendments that we are proposing be made to H439, and we hope this body will concur. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate amend the bill as recommended by the senator from Caledonia and others? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Washington is recognized, and I see there are others as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I interrogate the proposer of the amendments?
You may.
Thank you. Madam Chair, somewhere back around Amendment 3 or 4, there was a mention of the teachers' retirement, present teachers' retirement. Just for clarification, was that changing a number, or is it been moved in out of the ed fund?
It is a fund. It is an expenditure that this budget moves to the education fund. It has been stranded. I hoped I had been clear on that in my testimony. This was something originally got changed in the late 90s. It was never specifically funded. Then it was except as out of the corpus of the pension fund. That added to the underfunding problem. And then a couple of years ago, in order to not have the underfunding compounded even more, it was moved to the sort of without a lot. We did it at that time without a lot of discussion, looking at it in the same context as our pensions for normal retirement. What this budget does is move the responsibility for the cost of normal OPEB expenditure. This is for current teachers who are working to the education fund, consistent with what we have done with the pensions. This is a benefit cost. It's the same as a pension. It is not anything to do with the underfunding at all. It has to do with the current cost of providing that benefit at some point in the future when the teachers who are working right now retire. And it is, so what we're doing here is in the budget that the budget that we voted out had that money just using an even amount, and this simply makes it clear, rather than the 13,800, it's 13,835, 778. And if you look at the highlight sheet of the budget, I hope that it was clear that this is what we're doing. We're saying this is a cost, and I would also reference the fact that this budget includes $250 million of general fund for pensions and OPEB for teachers and state employees. That's 14% of all general fund right now is being allocated for that. And the reason we moved it is we feel it gives greater transparency. It is part of the cost of our K through 12 system, and that in light of how we have restructured the revenues flowing into the education fund, which now include all the sales tax money and all the other, well, from the lottery, as well as 25% of rooms and meals revenue, plus a third of purchase and use, that actually the revenues flowing into the education fund now exceed that to the general fund. So I want to be very clear that is in fact what is being proposed here.
Thank you, Madam President. I understood that the teachers' health care was being moved to ed. I just wasn't clear what the amendment was doing. Apparently, it's just adding a few dollars.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was a very long-winded explanation of what we're doing here. We had what we're amending is the amount that was $13,800,000 to make it add $35,778 to make it more precise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The senior senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I was going to ask for a short recess to confer with the pro tem, but I would wait until after other folks have asked their questions of the chair of appropriations.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
The senator from Windsor is recognized. Kindly unmute, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. May I inquire of the reporter of the amendment, please?
You may.
Thank you. I just would love clarification in the 21st instance of amendment on the brownfields language, because the reporter referred to language that I've read it now several times and I just don't see it, the notwithstanding language, and it may be in the body of the bill, and I just need clarification as to where the notwithstanding language is, so that those brownfield grants can be larger than what they're set in statute.
That's, Madam President, that is my understanding, that it's in the preceding language in the bill.
Thank you very much.
The question is, shall the bill be amended as moved by the senator from Caledonia and others? Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
I understand that there's some conferring happening while we speak, so we may stand in a brief recess for the next couple of minutes. The Senate will stand in recess.